Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us for a live team coverage of the 98th Chincoteague Pony Swim. I'm Mike Lichniak.
And I'm Madeline Overturf. We welcome viewers from all over the world who are tuning in right now. We are giving you a front row seat of all of it. From the water to the sky, we have you covered for this year's big swim.
Right, we have Lauren Hitch sailing along with the ponies on the water when they will enter the water.
We have Alex Seymour. He's our eyes in the sky in our news helicopter.
Heidi Kirk and Bill Mitch keeping an eye on things from the ground level. And the pony fun is not just over yet.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot more to get to. Of
Yes.
course, following the swim, the ponies will rest for 45 minutes to an hour. But, of course, a lot of anticipation building
A lot
right
of
now.
excitement going on. So let's start things off. Let's go out to the dock. And Mr. Bill Mitch is there waiting with bated breath for the flare to go off. Mr. Mitch, set us the scene. How is it in lovely Chincoteague?
Bated breath, it's more like humid breath. It's a little, Mike, it's hot, it's a little humid. There's not too many bugs. It's probably because I bathed in bug spray. But Mike, I will say there are about several hundred people here just to my right as we move over who are not too happy with you about the rain last night because it was muddy. It is muddy. The marsh is full of shoes. Everyone would like to thank you for that, Mike. But we're excited. We heard the flare from the Coast Guard might be pretty soon. We're waiting for the red flare. That means the pony swim is closed. You saw the Saltwater Cowboys over there to my right. They're waiting for the ponies to make their way over here. We heard there's a Saltwater Cowboy, 90 years old, and he's going to keep on doing it until he can't do it no more. And now I know we're a little bit ways away, but over on Assateague Island, we can see where the ponies are waiting for the red flare. Then they'll make their way over to the edge of Assateague, swim across the channel, and then there's hundreds of adoring fans waiting for them here on the other side. So the dock is a good spot. I know the boat's great. I'm sure the chopper is great, but I love this spot. It's kind of my spot. I'm going to keep claiming it for years to come. Send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Amazing spot out there.
Bill has the best seat in the house.
He really does.
Because you're not allowed on the dock unless you have like certain credentials.
Right.
So he gets stare at all those people losing their shoes in the marsh and be like, yeah, I've got it good.
And if people aren't familiar with the pony swim, if some of our viewers or people who are tuning in have never seen this before, where Bill is standing, the ponies will swim right there. He could reach out and touch them, though he cannot.
No, he
Not
cannot.
allowed.
Right. We have to always reiterate that, even when you're here visiting the Maryland State Park, if you're visiting us at the National Seashore Park on Assateague Island on the Maryland side, the horses will come up to you.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to touch them. You are not allowed to feed them.
They are truly, truly wild ponies.
Yes.
For those who aren't familiar, they live in Chincoteague, where we are now, talking about the fire company who takes care of them. Fire company just gives them some vaccines, things like that. But really, they are completely wild. And
Absolutely.
I think wild is good energy for what's happening down there.
Right.
Can we take it to our reporter Heidi Kirk to talk
Yes.
about all the people who have come to see this amazing energy?
Good morning, everybody. I cannot believe the energy out here. Electric is the only word I can use to describe it. In fact, I've been living here for about a year, and people talk about the pony swim all of the time, and now I understand why. I want you to give you a look behind me. Take a look at that screen. That is what everyone that is around here is looking at. Of course, we're not sure exactly what the view is going to be out to the water and those ponies, but they can see from that screen. Take a look over this way with me. The crowds are amazing. I mean, there are people from all over the world here. I've talked to many of them, from young children all the way to people that are 87 and above. And let me tell you what, it's hot out here. Those kids are starting to get antsy, but they're excited and they can't wait for those ponies to start to make their way around. I want you to take a look at the crowd back here. I'm gonna actually step out of the way and have my photographer kind of show you what's going on. We have people in chairs set up. I even saw someone in a tent. Believe it or not, people have coolers. They've got their sunglasses. There's people out on those boats, and I've got to tell you, I'm a little bit jealous. I know you're going to hear from one of our reporters who's out there later, but I know that sea breeze might be feeling pretty nice right now. I'm going to step back into frame, and I want to show you, we're going to walk over this way. Up on that big screen right now, you're going to see what they have up there. They are showing the ponies, and everybody's eyes are glued up there and just counting down and waiting for this to happen. And let me tell you what, as a first-timer, I am pretty excited myself. I've had my eyes glued to that screen and talking to people who've been here for years. So we're all excited. The excitement is in the room, and we can't wait. And I'm going to go ahead and send that right back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Heidi. We appreciate that. It really is an amazing experience.
And to think that this swim's only 3 minutes long. But
3 minutes.
This is what everybody's here for. And there are other reasons besides just swimming them across. We are bringing them over to the carnival grounds to hold an auction for these ponies coming up tomorrow. And this is a big deal because the ponies that are auctioned off, they are there so that the funding for the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company is made. This is their one fundraiser the entire year. This is what they use for all the funding, whether they're buying new boats to help the Saltwater Cowboys, whether they're buying new fire trucks for the island. It all basically comes from this one fundraiser.
And some people might say, well, why are they getting rid of these ponies? Why are they taking them away from their moms? Well, it's herd management as well. You know, if you can't, they are wild animals and Mother Nature handles some of that, but you can't just let them run wild and grow. This has to be sort of managed as we would with any wild animal, like deer and things like that. So.
And we're only here for the big part, for the actual pony swim. A lot of people don't realize this is a whole week affair. It starts on Saturday when the southern portion of the herd is herded together. Then on Sunday, the northern part is herded together. Then you get to Monday, and at 6 a.m., right at sunrise, the Saltwater Cowboys walk the north herd down to the south herd, and they combine forces for the first time. Then we move on to Tuesday. And Tuesday is a very important day. That's when the vet comes in, checks out all the horses, whether they're just doing the swim to swim across, or if they're actually going up on the auction block. All the horses are checked out, and then they're given their vaccinations, and then we get to this point.
And you know who has the best view of those ponies is our reporter Lauren Hitch, who joins us in Chincoteague. She is right there. Lauren, tell us what's going on.
Hey, Maddie, how are you guys doing? Now, I know you guys said Bill had the best seat, but that's a lie, okay? I've got a group full of friends on the boat over here. We're on Road Terry's boat. I have the best seat in the cow house, okay? We have the best seat. The ponies are going to be swimming right next to the boat. We're going to reach out. We can see it, touch them, but you definitely can't. And then if you guys look over here, all of these pontoon boats and kayakers, they've been out really early, am I right? They've been here. Some of them that parked their boats last night and shuttled people in because these are prime seats out here on the water. I'm so excited. We've got the Coast Guard boat coming out, and they will be the ones firing off the flare after an air horn. We are eager and excited out here.
Lauren, thank you so much. We are waiting for that flare. That means slack tide is there when the water conditions are safest for the ponies to cross over.
And I love that we have this competition. Bill's on the dock. Then you got Lauren, who's in a boat. That's a great seat. But wouldn't it be great to be up in the air? Let's turn it over now to our eye in the sky and our news helicopter and Alex Seymour. Give us a look at what you're seeing, Alex.
Well, we're flying high above Chincoteague Island this morning, above the Chincoteague Pony Swim. It's set to kick off right around when slack tide occurs. That should be pretty shortly here. We can actually see down below us some of the ponies, the 150 ponies that will be making that trek across the little inlet, the little canal across to Chincoteague Island. About 150 ponies there. They've actually been having a busy past few days to get to the point that they are now. It all started on Saturday. They actually did a southern herd roundup. So our Chincoteague Island ponies, they're actually separate from the Assateague ponies from the Maryland side. Actually, two separate herds. One's a southern herd that they round up on the Saturday before the swim. That includes about 50 adult ponies and, of course, all their foals that they give birth to over the last year. And then there's a northern herd that's rounded up on Sundays, on the Sunday before the swim. That includes about 100 adults, so all added together, about 150 adults. So that is the total amount of ponies that they're actually allowed to have on Chincoteague Island, because the Chincoteague Fire Department, of course, volunteer fire department, actually owns the ponies that live on Assateague Island on the Virginia side and actually have to get a permit, a grazing permit, believe it or not, from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service to have those ponies. So that's why they actually do these pony pinnings every year, is to control the herd size and also just to raise money for charities and raise money for the volunteer fire department. They actually started this pony pinning that we see now today, that we're waiting to occur in just a few short minutes to occur today. They actually started that back in 1925 as a way to raise funds for the volunteer fire department after several fires burned through Chincoteague Island, and they realized, well, we probably need a little bit better fire equipment. So that actually started back in 1925, what we see today, the kind of pony pinning that we see today. And that became famous back in the 60s, back when Misty of Chincoteague was released. It's a popular children's book that was released back several decades ago. that's when the Chincoteague Pony Swim became quite popular. And you can see now us flying above it, the 150 ponies out there on the marsh. And yeah, the ponies, they've been here for a long time on Assateague Island, on the Virginia side, and then of course going over to Chincoteague Island. It's believed back several hundred years ago, back in the 1700s, well really before that, that Spanish galleon actually sunk off of Assateague Island, and the ponies swam ashore during a storm, and that's how the ponies became to live here on Assateague Island, and this tradition of the Chincoteague pony penning began. It actually started before the volunteer fire department. Several hundred years before that, they used to have just an Assateague Island pony penning back in the 1700s. So it's been going on since before America was founded, the United States was founded. They've been doing these pony pennings on Assateague Island, then eventually on Chincoteague Island back in the 1800s. The first words of the pony penning actually occurring on Chincoteague itself was, the first mention of it was back in the 1800s. So it's been a long tradition for this island. A lot of people out here lining the shoreline, waiting for the ponies to swim across. Of course, we're waiting for the flare to go off for those ponies to begin to swim across. They're still pretty far back on the marsh, so we probably have several more minutes before slack tide occurs, which is just that time between high tide and low tide where the current's not moving. That way the ponies can get across. The good news is, if you're worried about any of those, so if you're worried about any of those tiny foals, well, they actually get trailered across, so you don't have to worry about that. But we're gonna send it back to the studio now for more information on the pony penning.
Thank you, Alex. An amazing view there. And Michael and I have been watching this, and you can see the Saltwater Cowboys. If you need to know who that is, it's the people on the horses.
Right.
That's the Cowboys. They are standing there, and we keep waiting for them to round them up.
Start moving them
going,
a little bit.
Get them going.
So to talk about the Saltwater Cowboys, there's about 40 to 55 of them who have held these positions for most of their lives. Positions in the Saltwater Cowboy group, highly sought after, and if you receive one, if you become a Saltwater Cowboy, that is an honor. And you can see the folks there sitting, waiting. Those folks on the front row, right up against the fence, the horses will be grazing literally a foot away from them.
Even closer. Some of them go all the way up to the fence line there. There are actually up to 40,000 people are usually expected to come to the pony swim.
Right.
And Chincoteague, if you have not been there, it is a quite small island.
It is a very small island. There's only one way in and one way out. So I can only imagine how that bridge was this morning trying to get into town.
Yes.
If you weren't there before 7 a.m., you probably weren't getting there in time for the actual pony swim. I do want to mention that I do have the live stream up, our WBOC Facebook live stream up. There are folks watching from upstate New York, southwestern Florida, Mississippi, and Texas right now. Live on the stream. And if you're live, if you're watching us from around the world, please share where you're watching from. We'd love to say hi to you.
And thank you for watching here. We want to take it to another spectator, somebody who's there in person with our reporter, Heidi Kirk. Heidi.
Okay, guys, take a look at this crowd here. I cannot believe the people who have come out today. It is so powerful to hear the stories of every single person in this crowd. There's people who live right here in Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and beyond. In fact, I'm here with one man that I met today, Noel. I'm going to go ahead and have you talk a little bit about the powerful story and message that brought you out to Chincoteague today.
This is the first attendance for me since my dad passed away last year. So it is like a pilgrimage for me. And in his memory, today is the 65th week of his passing. So I came here early this morning with 3 of my friends so that they can experience also the things that I experienced over the past several years. And it's bittersweet because it's the first time without my dad. But in his memory, I felt this morning when I arrived here at the island that his spirit is present.
What a powerful story. And I saw you have some photos with your dad and you were posing over here with the big screen and the ponies and showing us some pictures. Can you go ahead and hold those up for us if you don't mind?
Oh, sorry. Here's my dad's picture in here. This was taken on Father's Day back in 2016. And this is one photograph that I took when we were in Bellinzona, Italy back in 2008, I guess.
So powerful, and you said the Pony Swim was a special place for you today. I'm so excited for you to get to see it, and I'm going to go ahead and toss back to you guys, but that's just one powerful story here today.
Thank you so
That's an
much.
incredible
That
story.
really is amazing.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see how many people are out there, and they all have different stories. They have all different reasons. A lot of folks, you know, with the Misty of Chincoteague book, the movie that came out about the book, just personal stories. There's a lot of people who live across the country who literally come back to home, come back to Delmarva just so they can go to the Pony Swim.
It is really an amazing experience. And as you mentioned, Mike, the swim is not it. There is an auction of the foals, and it's a very exciting energy down there. I believe our reporter Lauren Hitch is with one of the auctioneers on her boat.
I am here with Tim Jennings. He's the Pony Swim auctioneer. How are you today?
Great. How can you not be great? It's a beautiful day. We've got ponies, we've got people. It's just amazing.
And Tim is here with his beautiful wife, and we were in the boat with them last year. We had a lot of fun. Tell us about what it means to be in this boat pre-pony auction.
It's a thrill. It's a thrill. When I started doing this in 2000, and part of the deal was to have a good seat for the swim, and this is as good as it gets. It's just amazing.
And tell us a little bit about, give us a little preview of the auction part. There is a live auction still, but you do a great job.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's live auction, 8 o'clock Thursday morning. We start. There is online bidding, and people can watch it online at superiorlivestock.com. And it's just a thrill. It's exciting. There's not a horse auction like it in the world, not one. It's for a great cause. There's so much passion for the ponies and for the history of the island. And these Saltwater Cowboys do a fantastic job. It's hard work putting it all together. It's just an amazing, amazing event from start to finish. And of course, the auction part's my favorite, but
yeah. And your wife said this is the highlight of your year, and this Pony Swim is the highlight of ours. We're going to take it back to you guys now.
And we really appreciate that. And Mikey was just telling me we have people from Colorado, South Carolina, and Florida
More
also
Florida
watching.
folks watching. This is an incredible thing. And we were talking about this auction. Some of the horses that are auctioned off tomorrow go away from the island. Either they be a pony that's or one of the older ones. They can be taken off the island. There are other ones specifically marked as a buyback. What that means is the horse will go up for auction. They will auction the horse off. You get to name the horse, but the horse stays with the herd on Assateague Island. It will make the swim back on Friday. That horse will not be pulled away from the herd itself.
There was just a very special buyback auction. Actually, we talked about Misty of Chincoteague, the famous children's book, which I'm just going to be honest with you, I read it last year as a 32-year-old woman, and I loved it. So it's for adults as well.
Yes.
But there was a buyback auction of a pony so they could raise money to save the BB Ranch.
Right. So the owner of the BB Ranch has been looking to sell the property. And a developer had come in, said, hey, we want to buy it, but the Chincoteague Museum was like, we cannot allow this to happen. So this has been almost a years-long effort to save the BB Ranch, the home of Misty. There's actually, that is the true horse
That's
of Misty.
Misty.
That
That's
is
in the
Misty
museum.
there in the museum. They have all these artifacts. If you've never been there, you'll be able to go there and actually see the house. Like you can go to the house, you can see where the book was written about. It's amazing.
And the ranch, the museum has made it clear they are going to preserve it, keep it as a space that people can visit, that it can be part of this, almost an extension of the museum versus becoming condominiums or what have you. So that was a buyback auction of a pony to save the BB Ranch, which is pictured here, which is still a working ranch today.
Absolutely.
We got to get down there.
We do.
Let's go on a Saturday.
I like it, but we also need to go out to Alex in the chopper because apparently the horses are being rounded up and they are heading for the water. So this is what we've been waiting for. We have been waiting for this moment to watch the Saltwater Cowboys begin to move the herd down towards the water. And we're probably very close, if not at the moment where the flare will probably go up so that they're signaling that the horses are about to enter onto the water.
And it really is an amazing thing to watch, Mike, when you see these horses. They know what they're doing.
Right.
It's almost this
instinct.
innate thing, and it's neat to also watch the older horses with some of the younger foals to be like, "We got you. It's okay. Come on, come this way."
Right.
But they get the water, and there's no fear. They go in. They just know it's nature's instinct almost coming out.
So you know what would be a good idea here, if we could? Let's go to Bill, who's live on the dock. So he's probably watching and seeing the herd moving across. So they're moving across Assateague, moving towards the channel. Bill, what are you watching? What are you seeing? Have you seen the flare yet?
So no flare just yet. I know you guys are taking a look at the horses making their way towards where they will be swimming. Every eye right now that's not watching the horses is watching this Coast Guard boat, and they're kind of meandering in the middle of the water right now. The water looks pretty still. We heard some people talking on the microphone that we might be getting close. So we were waiting for an air horn, and they were waiting for a flare. And the fact that the horses are moving means that we are getting pretty close, which is very exciting. I mean, the chopper's the best shot right now to see all these horses.
Absolutely.
But there's a Coast Guardman standing on the boat right now. There's the flare. There's the
got a
cheers.
flare.
Not the flare. There's the air horn. The flare's coming in just a second. I jumped the gun. Sounding the air horn. Flare's coming. I got excited. I got excited,
Bill,
guys, all right?
Bill, what's
Flare's
more
on the way.
exciting?
There's the flare.
Bill, what's more exciting, Eagles home opener or this?
There's the flare.
Why are we talking about the Eagles right now?
Because it's his favorite
Mike,
team.
don't make me pick. Don't make me pick, Mike. There's the flare. Ponies are on the way. Mike put me on the spot. I don't appreciate that, but we are just a few moments away from the swim. I know we're back here on the dock. I know we're up against the fence. We are 10, 12, 15, 20 people deep in certain spots, waiting for these horses to make their way over. It's awesome. And some people brought umbrellas because it's hot. One lady is standing up on a tree. She's got her big camera. She's ready to go. There are people under the dock right now. I mean, the horses are going to be right up next to them. So any place you can get a good spot, people have found those places. There's kids over to my right picking crabs out of the mud because they're bored waiting for the horses, but they're coming and everyone's excited. We hear the announcements going on. The horses are close. There's excitement. We just got to wait for them to get here. And then we do all this waiting for what, like 3-4 minutes?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
3-4 minutes of the swim.
It's the best 3 to
It's
4 minutes on
3-4 minutes that you'll
Delmarva,
see.
in my opinion.
Absolutely, 100%.
And one of the ponies we just saw is feeling that excitement.
Yeah,
The
one
little
of
foal,
the little foals trying to run out, and the Saltwater Cowboys has to come out and bring
said,
them back into the herd.
Come on in, come
This
on
is
in.
awesome. One other place that I would really love to see is Lauren's shot, because they're about to get into the water.
Right next to her.
Right next to her.
Right next to her alongside the boat there. And
This is going to be incredible.
look at them. And the horses, again, they know what they are doing. It is just this instinctual herd activity. And many of those Saltwater Cowboys grew up in Chincoteague. It's a big position of honor. Their horses they ride, part of that herd. It is really an entire, we got another runner.
And now,
Come on back.
And so and here comes the exciting part, because now we're getting into the swim portion.
Right.
Now we're on the look for which horse makes it to the island first, because that is very important when it comes to the auction, because the first male or female horse that ends up on Chincoteague Island becomes either King or Queen Neptune.
It is a big name, and a lot of the names are very similar.
First foal. First foal. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting me.
Leave it to Bill. He's got to fact check you on
Of course he
that.
does.
He is the king of the Chincoteague Pony Swim.
He should have a crown on his head on this day.
So, Bill, tell us a little bit.
I said first horse a couple years ago. And 300,000 people on Facebook Live called me out. So I know it is first foal.
First foal.
First foal.
Bill, tell us a little bit more about what you are seeing there. What is the energy going on, and really just how does this pony swim compare to years past that you've been there?
Hotter. It feels hotter. I mean, a lot of times it feels like we come here and it's rainy. What's nice is that there's not too many bugs. I know I said that earlier. There's not too many bugs, but it is hot. The amount of umbrellas that have come out this morning is certainly more than I've seen in years past. But I know we're waiting for the horses as they're making their way over. The amount of boats and kayaks and jet skis that are in the water makes it a little tough to see the horses from where we are. But people are out. The cameras are out. The binoculars are out. The fans are out because it is very hot. And it's just, right now, as we said a couple minutes ago, it's kind of a hurry up and wait. You kind of wish they would gallop over to the swim, but, we're not going to be picky. Whatever they got to do.
Right.
They're going at a decent trot right now, I would say.
They're definitely moving along at a very nice pace at this point.
They're not taking the scenic route. They're ready to get into the water.
They're trying to get into the water as fast as they can.
We're seeing now on the screen some young viewers looking at the Memorial Park there, which is another great way to view the ponies without being right down there
If
on
you
the
can't
dock.
get to the marsh to lose your shoes, that is the perfect place to be watching the pony swim, is right on that park, because that's where the horses end up going to.
Right.
Is to that park and towards the carnival grounds. Go ahead, Bill.
if I may interject, I apologize. You guys were talking about the people that were watching online, which we appreciate them chiming in where they're watching from. We have a couple reporters down here doing stories, interviewing people, and our reporter Rachel Pierce said she met a pair of friends who are from California and Hawaii who have made their way here for the very first time. That's a long trip to come from Hawaii, but I mean, well worth it once they get up close and personal. And they were here early. I'm talking 5 a.m. to make sure they got through that marsh and got a good spot. So I'm sure they got their umbrella out, I'm sure, but people were here very early. They were here before our morning broadcast started at 5 a.m. to make sure they're up along this fence right now. So it's worth the wait. I don't know if it was worth the mud, but they're loving it. So we're eagerly anticipating.
And speaking of the mud, you can see right now the ponies are well into the mud, means they're getting closer and closer to the water. Any minute now we should be getting into the marsh. Alex, what's it look like for you up there?
All right, so we can now see the Saltwater Cowboys ushering in the ponies into the water here. It's a smaller area of water before they get to the main body that they'll be crossing in just a few short minutes. It looks like they're probably about 2-3 minutes away from reaching the main body of water. You can see the larger herd. We've been watching up here from the chopper. Some of the smaller foals have been trying to run off, but the Saltwater Cowboys certainly have them pretty corralled, pretty well leading the way, heading to the waterway to where they're about to cross over. So the first pony across that we would see would be that King Neptune or Queen Neptune, whichever one gets across first. So you can see some of those Saltwater Cowboys and that 150 ponies. They are now making their way into the water, and shouldn't be too long once they make it to that main body. Like I said, it's only about 3 to 4 minutes away from the main body. They're still more in the marshy area. Several kayakers coming up behind some of those ponies, watching them from behind. With Saltwater Cowboys certainly have them surrounded, making sure that they're all making their way into the water, making their way to get across the canal there, the waterway there, over to Chincoteague Island. But yes, right now we're just waiting for them to get to that main stretch, for all the lookers, all the people watching along the shore, even several people lining the dock there at Tom's Cove Campground, watching those horses, watching the ponies, boats lined up all the way across, people out there standing in the marsh. So we're just about to approach those first kayakers that are on the main batch of water there. So we're going to be there probably within the next 30 seconds to a minute to those first kayakers, and probably about a minute and a half from that main body of water that we're watching there. So we've got all the 150 ponies making their way. Even some people out there on the marsh seem to be getting pretty close to those ponies, but I'm sure those Saltwater Cowboys making sure they're staying far enough back, since they are still wild animals. So they're going to make their way across and then head over to that Chincoteague well, really to the Chincoteague Carnival, where they get auctioned off tomorrow morning. But yeah, so 150 ponies making their way into the water, about to make their way across, and now we're going to send it right back to the station.
Thank you, Alex.
What is it? Arizona checking in. I see Springfield, Missouri checking in on our live stream. Folks from all over the country, all over the world joining us for this moment right here as the horses now start to get into the water a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper.
And they're ready to swim. One thing I also would like to note is there are Chincoteague ponies living all over the country. I know actually one of the stallions is being moved to Oregon to a sanctuary, because it's just kind of that time in his life. He needs to sort of move on. So they're moving him out there to help with the herd here. So there are Chincoteague ponies from all over, well, from here going all over the country. So I'm sure we have some viewers online.
Actually, I saw somebody say that they bought, that they were the owner of the King Neptune of 2018.
I love that. Well, hey, you can see the ponies in the water. So guess who also is in the water? Our Lauren Hitch. Lauren, take it away.
All right, guys, you can see that the Saltwater Cowboys are bringing them across the water. They're going to hang out here in this grassy area a little bit, and then we're going to do the swim. So this is all part of it. These Saltwater Cowboys, we just heard one of them is 90 years old. How amazing is that? And usually for the Saltwater Cowboys, it's a family tradition. Their sons, grandsons, everyone is out here. This is a highlight of a day. Now, I want to let you guys know, too, once the ponies start making this swim, they're made for swimming. They're actually really, really good swimmers. They have big lungs. They're ready to take on this swim. And this barge that you guys may see here, it actually took the ponies that were too small to make that swim over already. They're already at the carnival grounds. So the smaller ones were taken over earlier. Now here comes all the ones that are ready for the swim today.
There they are.
This is incredible.
This is it's really an amazing view. And I do think it is worth noting for people who might not be familiar, this is done with safety in mind.
Yes.
As you mentioned, Mike, they have their vet checks on Tuesday. The little ones Lauren just mentioned, they get brought over on a barge. So this is not anything that, any pony you see in the water has been cleared to do that.
Right. So now we're starting to cross over from one channel to the grass, and now they're on the approach to the big channel of water for the actual swim itself. Bill should be starting to see the ponies. If we can go to Bill. I could hear the crowd getting louder in the background. Bill, what are you seeing out there?
The crowd's very loud. I'm looking down the dock. Denise from Chincoteague, the Queen Pony Swim, is coming my way, so I don't want to get in trouble. But the pony, they're right. You can see those colored flags. They're right there. It's just like, you know, get in the water. So everybody here is excited. I'm trying to stay out of the shot because nobody wants to see my big head right now. But they're, I mean, I'm probably moments away from actually getting into the water. I know we got on the air early. We were waiting for the flare. We were waiting for the air horn. A little bit of hurry up and wait, but it's close. It's very close. And once they get in, it's very cool to be on the dock. I know Lauren can hear it the whole time, and she says she has the best spot and whatever. But you can hear them as they get closer and closer, you know, neighing and making noise through the water. Like when they jump in, I can't hear anything. It's getting cool. You know, 150 horses coming your way. They make a lot of noise. So when you can start to hear them in the water, that's when it gets even better and the crowd gets even more excited. The amount of giant cameras I see in this crowd over here, you think we were at a professional photography class or something like that. It's unbelievable. Everyone's got their camera out. We're just waiting to get in the water, and it's hot enough that I might get in the water and start pushing some people in. It's baking out here.
So the horses are now being gathered very tightly. They're about to start swimming. They're literally on the edge of the shore.
On the banks, they're ready to get in the water. I want to talk to some pony swim experts about the Palomino I see near the front, who seems to be leading them. I wonder if that's one of the stallions. Oh,
there
ponies are in the water. We are in the water.
The swim has officially begun.
You can hear the roar of the crowds. You can see the ponies have entered the channel. They are starting to swim, heading over to Bill there on the docks. Saltwater Cowboys ushering them in. Look at that shot.
That's a great shot.
Absolutely incredible. As Lauren mentioned, these ponies, they know what they're doing. They are meant to swim. They're wild animals. It's a natural thing for them.
Yes. Also, shout out to Lynn Besson from the United Kingdom joining us for this 3 minutes that we have all been waiting for.
Thank you so much for that. Now, Lauren, you're from the boat. Tell us, how is it feeling out there?
Check out the ponies making the swim, you guys. This is always so exciting, so exhilarating. The ponies are now in the water, and you're going to hear a lot of hooting and hollering. We're on Terry's boat out here, and that just kind of helps keep them in a direction. We are in a boat. There's a boat on the other side. We're going to do a lot of tapping and yelling. That's just so that they know which way to go. You can see their eyes working. Sometimes if they get a little off course, that's what the boats are for. We're going to keep them on the path over to the dock where there's plenty of people waiting. You can see they're breathing out of their noses. Again, they're really good swimmers. They've got great, huge lungs on them. Their lungs help them float a little bit even. So we've got some good swimmers out here today.
Looks like a little activity there in the middle.
Just a little bit.
A little bit of a swimming spat, I'm not sure, or just a lot of activity.
A lot of legs kicking there as they're trying to make their way towards the shore.
And of course, now my eyes are going to the front to look for the youngest pony. I want to know who King or Queen Neptune is going to be.
It is the youngest foal that is not being a buyback.
Right.
That is King or Queen Neptune. That's another distinction that we have to bring to the forefront, is that this pony will not be a buyback.
It will be auctioned off.
Yes.
So you can see the ponies all in the water now, heading over, as Lauren mentioned, the boat sort of ushering them along, just making sure they don't get off course there.
Absolutely.
I always love to look to for the mothers and the foals who are kind of giving some guidance to the young ones who maybe this is their first or second swim. Wow. Absolutely incredible. I guarantee if you showed this shot to somebody who didn't know what we were talking about, they'd be like, is that a big fish? Like, what's happening? It's because your brain almost doesn't comprehend that wild horses and ponies can do this.
Right. All right, Mr. Bill, they're heading towards you. Set the scene. How's the crowd acting out there?
So, Mike, they're heading towards us, but they're kind of, I'll be honest with you, a little off target at the moment. I'm standing on the dock, and they usually come ashore to the left of me, and everyone over on the right is kind of like, where are they going? So we had some people scrambling a little bit, but you can see those Saltwater Cowboys ushering them to their right area because there's this big open area for these horses to get to, and they'd all decided today that 98 years, they're going to start making up their own rules. So they're trying to go their own way. But
they are wild animals, Bill.
We don't have a greatest shot right. They are, and they're showing that today. So our shot from the dock, which is normally incredible, we don't have one right now because we don't see any horses. Now here they come.
There we go.
Hey, Mike, if we can go back over here, we can see their heads finally getting in. There we go. They're on course.
They got
it just took a little longer, that's all.
They took the scenic route. They
Yes.
really did.
This is amazing to watch. By the way, those assistants that are on the boats to the Saltwater Cowboys, they are scout boys.
Scout boys.
And they are there to help make sure that everybody gets to the right spot, as Bill was mentioning.
And there's 40 to 50 Saltwater Cowboys.
Wait,
as
and
we
here
said.
we go. They are
We
coming
have
ashore.
reached the shore. The ponies are coming on land. And let's just take a listen really quick to the crowds. Amazing. You can hear those ponies.
neighing.
You can hear those neighings. And it was interesting. You could hear the crowds cheering, and then everybody got silent, almost as if to let the ponies have their moment.
Right.
You can still hear the crowds cheering there now as the ponies making their way into the grass to get a well-deserved snack.
Yeah, well-deserved snack. Bill, tell us about the horses. How do they look? The crowd. You can see them. You can hear them getting louder and louder.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Mike, I've never seen them. I've been here a few years, kind of go off to the right. So the Saltwater Cowboys now are kind of along the banks to the right of the dock, kind of pushing them the other way. Something I've never seen before, but we're all getting in the right area. We had some crowds scatter a little bit. We got one or two horses still in the water, but they're all making their way. I know the Saltwater Cowboys, they're looking to see which one was King or Queen Neptune. I have no idea because there's 150 of them, so it's tough to tell. But they're very good at this. So we had some people scatter, but we got a good shot of the vast majority of them up on that came to the ground right now. So we're looking good. We're just about all of them getting out of the water as we speak.
It looks absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Bill. We want to take it now to Heidi Kirk, who is with all the spectators in Memorial Park. Heidi, what's the scene like there?
Take a look out here. These crowds are absolutely amazing. There is cheering, there is clapping. It is absolutely electric, all the people out here today. Everyone's eyes are absolutely glued to the screens up here. I'm seeing little kids with their eyes bigger than you've ever seen them. As you can see, there's some people up there on shoulders, making sure they get a good look at those ponies. Now you're seeing some of the crowds start to split, but overall the energy is still here. Just take a look at that. The people here are amazing. Every single person has had something nice to say. It's exciting, it's electric, and that's what we have going on out here. And I will go ahead and send it back to you.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Again, another beautiful shot from the air and the ground. You can see those ponies now. That looks like a young foal there. I wonder if that's King or Queen Neptune. I guess we'll find out.
We will find out in a little bit because they mark which one is King or Queen Neptune with like a ribbon.
Right. I want to know whose job it is to look for King or Queen Neptune. There's probably one Saltwater Cowboy.
I bet there's like 2 or 3 on that same dock that Bill's on that's required to be like, that's the one right there.
That's it. First hoof on the marsh.
Right.
You can see, I always enjoy watching this too, when the ponies do make their way across to see where they choose to spend their time. Some of them are like, I'm going to linger back, and some of them go right up to the fence.
Right.
And it's interesting because if you have not been to Chincoteague, just so you know, it's not like Assateague in Maryland where you can drive your car and the pony is right next to you.
Right.
You are at a great distance from the ponies in Chincoteague for the most part, unless you're on a boat in the water. And even so, you are legally not allowed to get out of your boat or your kayak and touch one of these wild horses, wild ponies. So just be aware of that. But it's amazing because, again, these ponies are not normally right next to humans on their day-to-day life, but they go right up to the fence.
Absolutely. They're not afraid of the humans.
They're not.
So let's go now back to the boat. Lauren Hitch, what do you got for us?
Guys, what an amazing swim. I love when the little foals come up out of the water because it's just amazing that they know, they listen to mom and dad, they figure out a way to get over there on shore, and now they're all just resting. What another great pony swim, y'all.
It's been absolutely amazing, Lauren, and the view from the boat was just incredible. Like you said, seeing their little noses stick above the water. You can see the ponies. Then there's one coming right up along the fence there, kind of there and back. I wonder if that's one of the stallions who says, hey, hold on, watch my family.
Right.
Come on, give me some
Making sure
space.
everything is hunky and dory. All right, so the swim is now over, but the pony fun is not over just yet. Following the swim, the ponies,
as you can see there,
will rest for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's not like they're just going to be ushered right away out of the marsh. They're going to take their time. They'll be allowed to graze. After that period of time, the parade to the Chincoteague Carnival grounds begins.
That happens, and that's incredibly exciting. I love the parade. They walk through town. The carnival, as you mentioned, Thursday is when the full auction is. That is when they auction off the ponies, some for buyback, some for people who can take them to be pets, though not right away. They have to get a little bit bigger depending on their age.
And then once that is done and the funds are raised for the Volunteer Fire Company in Chincoteague, Friday the ponies actually swim back to Assateague Island, where they get to live once again until it's time for the pony swim next year.
Well, we are so appreciative for everyone who joined us here. Thank you so much for joining us for our live coverage this morning of the 98th Chincoteague Pony Swim.
So for more swim coverage, be sure to tune in later tonight to WBOC and Coast TV. This has been fun.
It's been great. Wonderful. And we want you to tune into the app as well, also on our Facebook, our any streaming sites.
Thank you to everybody who has joined us from around the world to watch this pony swim. Have a wonderful morning. We'll see you a little bit later.
Coverage of the 2023 Chincoteague Pony Swim on WBOC and Coast TV is brought to you by Buchanan Subaru.